what are the various kinds of data science roles? Let's see. But before we dig into this, it is important to understand that these role names are not written in stone. They are very often used exchangeably, and it's not unusual for someone to come up with a custom role name for a specific set of requirements that they have in their company. But that said, what we are going to see now is the common set of roles and what those roles involve typically. First is an ML engineer. An ML engineer is a person who can crunch data, build ML models, and write production ready code for them. Typically involves writing code that can be deployed, building an end-to-end ML pipeline so that the code is efficient and can go to production. It often involves many engineering aspects, right? The next is a data scientist. Data scientist is the hardest to describe because it's sometimes a catch-all kind of a thing, but a common notion for data scientist is someone who understands different kinds of machine learning models to be able to look at a data problem and come up with the right model to use based on the features available and so on, right? Be able to prototype it, figure out the right thing that should go to production. Often, the data scientist also is expected to write production ready code and write the rest of the pipeline to push the code to production. Right? So, again, there is a thin line between this ML engineer and data scientist. Sometimes they're even used exchangeably. A data engineer. A data engineer is someone who is able to get data in and out of ML model. So data resides in various sources. So uh, a data engineer typically aggregates data from all these sources, applies the right transformations to them, and makes it in a form that is ready for an ML model to consume. Right? So that's typically what a data engineer does. The next is a data analyst. A data analyst is someone who can look at data and come up with interesting insights about the data that are useful for the business. Sometimes the analyst might also use predictive modeling, machine learning, and so on. It's not uncommon at all. But the analyst might not end up writing production ready code all the time. It might be more for decision support, and unlike the ML engineer, right? The next is a business analyst. A business analyst is someone who is able to analyze and come up with interesting insights from data, come up with data driven insights, but also is able to communicate well with various stakeholders, such as your end customers or your various other stakeholders involved in your organization, and uh, come up with decisions and be able to take decisions based on data to drive forward the business, right? So for both the data analyst and business analyst, it's not just Python coding, but typically they end up using a lot of other tools like Tableau and even Excel sometimes, right? So the kind of tools that are used might be slightly different, right? Apart from this, there are many other roles. Some of the other common roles are testing roles in data science. Not very common yet, but there are a few. Then there are leadership roles. So most of these that I talked about are individual contributor roles. So there could be leadership roles where you are like, an ML team lead kind of a thing. There could be like, ML manager roles, ML product manager roles, which is like a bridge between the product and the ML team. So basically a product manager, but who knows enough ML to be able to interact with ML team to work on uh, deep tech products which involve ML, right? And yeah, so these are some of the common roles. And again, like I said, the role names are often used interchangeably. So one needs to keep that in mind.